Today we are going to discuss community pharmacy. What is community pharmacy? Community pharmacy definitions and background. Community pharmacy is defined as the privately held or owned establishment whose function is to serve the society and fulfill the needs of society by providing the information about drug product and pharmaceutical services. It provides the first aid treatment to the specific community in the emergency cases. The pharmaceutical services include oxygen cylinders, nebulization and drip stands and ECG techniques. Now we will study chain pharmacies. Community pharmacies ranges from the corporation owned of chain pharmacy to individually owned pharmaceutical centers that provide the pharmaceutical services plus few lines health about health. Chain pharmacy is important for the delivery of the pharmaceutical services and products to public. The chain pharmacies have improved their position in the area of the prescribed drug and OTC drugs, that is over the counter medications. Now, what is establishment of community pharmacy? For the establishment of the new community pharmacy, first of all, pharmacists consider that there is any need of community pharmacy in that society or not. First thing is realization of the need. If already there is established pharmacy, it is providing and fulfilling the needs of the society or not. Pharmacists must consider following points while establishing a new community pharmacy. Which type of legal organization should be chosen? Which specific site should be selected, and the necessary capital requirement. What type of legal organization? There are basically three types of organization to choose from. One is individual or sole proprietorship, the business which is owned and managed by a simple person or a single person. Here the single person enjoy the whole profit and loss of the business. In this, except the required license, the sole proprietor may open or close the pharmacy without the legal or government permission. It is better that a pharmacist should be of the community because he can easily visit the patients at their homes. In case patient is not able to reach to the pharmacy. Number two organization type is partnership. The second type of the organization is the partnership. Partnership when the resources of the individual are not sufficient to meet the needs for the establishing the community pharmacy, or when the individual does not wish to take whole risk of the business. In this scenario, the responsibilities are distributed among 2 or 3 partners. It provides the way for the individual to do jointly if it couldn't do individually. In this, each partner has right to give the comment in the business efforts and affairs. The written agreement should be signed and verified and drafted by a lawyer, including matters like investment, duties, responsibilities, and division of the profit and losses of each partner. This will provide reference for the solving the future misunderstanding if any arises. Number 3 type of organization is corporation. Corporation is a separate legal entity created by the authority of a state. As it is a legal entity created by the state, so death or the transfer of the owner doesn't affect the corporation's existence itself. Corporation has those powers that are authorized by the state. The corporation perform the federal income tax form, the calling them individual stockholders pay personal income tax resulting owner of the corporation pay double taxation. In establishing a new pharmacy, the owner describe the which form of the legal organization follow the sole proprietorship or partnership or the entire enter into a big corporation. Now the second step is the site selection. The site selection for the establishment of the new community pharmacy, certain points should be considered. Number one, population of the community, income of the population, that whether we get profit or not. Number three, number and the types of industries in that community already existing. And number four, climate of the area. Primary emphasis should be on that because it should be located central to the population to be served. The pharmacy must provide the easy assessment and adequate parking facilities. Now, after the site selection and the type of organization selection, then we come for the capital. Capital is, it means that the planning that how much money required to establish a new pharmacy. It includes the cash, that is sufficient cash is needed to pay the pre-opening expenses like the licensing fees, utility, deposit and advertising. And then we have inventory, that it includes the cost of goods presently available as well as for the annual stock, fixtures and equipment needed for the new pharmacy. This is also a very important point to be considered. After the introduction of the community pharmacy, now we will learn about public health and community pharmacy. What is public health and what is community pharmacy? Role in this. The public health is the study and the practice that what best is to improve the health of the population rather than individuals. Another definition was given by the Sir Donald Wilson in 1988 as the science and art of preventing the disease, prolonging the life and promoting, protecting and improving the health of the population through organized efforts of the society, or the public health, also defined as it is a system of delivering a comprehensive health care to the community through the trend of medical staff. The community pharmacy is improving the public's health and securing a good health for the whole population. The community pharmacist has great contribution in the public health by providing information and support the people on the subject of the medicines and alternative treatments to the lifestyle. The community pharmacist develops the capacity in the management of the chronic conditions. The public health is then categorized into three main domains: health protection and disease prevention, health and social care, and health improvement. What is comprised of health protection and disease prevention? Basically, it comprises disease and injury prevention, communicable disease control, and putting emphasis on the control of the communicable diseases, environmental health. In this, by adopting hygiene condition in the society and emergency planning. This all comes under the health protection and disease prevention. Now we will discuss health and social care. Social care qualifying clinical effectiveness, efficiency services, service planning and audit and evaluation, and clinical governance. This comes under health and social care. Then we have health improvement. In this we have employment, housing, family or community, education, lifestyle, advice. So the public health is categorized basically in three categories, that is health protection and disease prevention, health and social care, and health improvement. Health protection and disease prevention basically comprise like disease injury and prevention, communicable disease and control, putting emphasis on the control of the communicable disease, environmental health in this by adopting the hygiene conditions in the society and emergency planning. And social care, we have qualifying clinical effectiveness, efficiency, service planning, audit and evaluation, clinical governance. And health improvement, employment, housing, family community, and education and lifestyle. Then we have the value of the community pharmacy. What is value of community pharmacy? Why we should have a community pharmacy? Community pharmacy can make the significant contribution for improving the health and reducing the spreading disease in the community. The aim of this work is to determine that which health improvement activities are most effective in the community pharmacy setting. Key points are like control on smoking, prevention and management of coronary heart diseases by identifying the risk factors of coronary heart diseases, CHD. This is also a short form. And immunizing, and then we have accidental and injury prevention. So these things are important. Then we have a second topic, that is epidemiology. It's the Greek word. Epi means among, demos means people, and logos means study. So basically it is a study of people. It is a study of distribution of disease in a community, city, village or country. It is also derived from the word epidemic. Scientific study of the distribution and determination of the disease among the society or community. Initially, it was used only for the communicable diseases, but nowadays it is used as journal. Uses of epidemiology: to study the history or origin of the disease, to study the respective role of agent, host and environment in the spread of disease, to study the types of disease prevalent in the community, to diagnose the health problems and to study the occurrence of the and distribution of the diseases by age, sex, occupation and locality, to forecast the future trends of diseases, example increase of the cholera in summer and malaria during the rainy seasons. It will help to take preventive measurements. Final goal is to study the various aspects of the diseases and suggest measurements of eradication of the diseases. Then we have the factors responsible for the spreading communicable diseases. There are three factors like agent, host and environment. If any one of this is missing, then disease does not occur, may not spread, we can say. Agent number one, it is the most important factor for occurrence or spreading of the disease. It has the following types: biological agent, bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, worm and insects; and physical agents, that is extreme of the weather like rainy season, summer, high cold, x-rays and pressure, etc. Chemical agents like carbon dioxide, farmer's dust, and may cause the illness by inhalation, excessive use of the pesticides and fertilizers. And mechanical agents like the motor vehicles, machineries, etc. And nutritional agents like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins and minerals and water. Excess or deficiency of these may cause nutritional diseases. So this was the role of the agents. Now the second point is host. The host is that in sexual reproduction of microorganism occurs. It can be man, animal or mosquito. Pathogenic microorganism attack the host when its defense power of the host is very low. Factors related to the host include the age, sex, heredity, nutrition and habit. Age: certain diseases like measles are most common in childhood. Cancer is in middle age. TB in old age. People are commonly catching it. Sex: females are more affected from the cancer than male, while males are more affected from the heart attack and hypertension problem than females. Genetics: diabetes and the mental diseases are mostly due to the genetic inheritance. Nutrition: deficiency of the protein may cause Kawasaki Shorkor. I can't pronounce this word. maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Overeating may cause to obesity and diabetes. Habits like smoking may cause lung cancer, etc. It plays very important role in it is in favors in the health, then it keeps healthy community. If it is in favor in host or agent, it will cause disease. Example, malaria is common in rainy season, common cold in winter, and pathogenic air pollute the water and food, resulting various intestinal disorder occurs. Okay, so the next thing is disease transmission. What is disease transmission? All communicable diseases are transmitted from one person to the another person by contact. Routes of transmission of the infection through skin, mucous membrane, like malaria is spread by biting of the mosquito. AIDS is spread through the mucous membrane. Through GIT tract, that is ingestion of the infected food may cause the infection of the GIT, like diarrhea, cholera, and fever, etc. Through the respiratory tract, inhalation of the contaminated air with the pathogenic microorganism may cause TB and influenza and maybe now COVID-19. Modes of transmission of the infection. There are basically two modes, direct transmission and indirect transmission. In direct transmission, it is again subdivided as direct contact, droplet infection, animal biting, infected air or dust, and placental transmission. That is direct transmission types. Direct contact. Some diseases are spread by direct contact like shaking hands, kissing, sexual contact, example diarrhea, gonorrhea, and AIDS. Droplet infection like by sneezing, coughing, or talking loudly, it's showering this small droplets which contains many pathogenic microorganisms. So when they are inhaled by the healthy person may cause infection like influenza, TB, whooping cough, pneumonia, and the viral infections. Animal biting like biting of the dog, snake biting, and example rabies, etc. Infected dust during laughing, sneezing, or coughing, pathogen into the air or the dust that of the healthy person may cause infection. Example TB, tetanus, cholera, and then we have a transplacental, that is a certain disease is also transmitted from the infected mother to the fetus through the placenta, that is hepatitis B, rubella virus, and the AIDS, etc. Indirect transmission mode, it is also again subdivided as a vehicle borne, vector borne, and fomite borne. Vehicle borne is the transmission of the infection by vehicle like water, milk, and food. Contamination, disease spread through the water called waterborne, and those by milk called milk-borne. Waterborne diseases include the cholera, diarrhea, hepatitis A. Milk-borne diseases include the TB, diphtheria, and sore throat. Vector-borne, refers any arthropod like fleas, mosquitoes, and rodent act as an agent. Like mosquitoes cause the malaria, rat cause the plague. Fomite-borne, any article that is related to the infected person like his clothes and bed sheet, hands, handkerchief, his towel, etc. and currency also. Modes of prevention of the communicable disease. Controlling the source of infection, number one. That is early diagnosis. If the disease is in early diagnosis and treat, the chance of the spread of the communication disease will be less. Then we have controlling authorities who can control the disease. Then we have isolation. Patients suffering from the communicable disease initially isolated to reduce the spread of the disease to the public. Number 4, treatment. Proper treatment should be given at the early stage of the disease to prevent the spread of the disease. Then we have a blocking the mode of transmission. We should not drink the contaminated water or food, waterborne and milk-borne disease, by destroying the mosquitoes, fleas, and rodent arthropods. And all fomites of the patient should be thoroughly disinfected. Controlling the sexually transmitted diseases by using mechanical contraceptive. Common terms used in epidemiology: infection, the entry and the multiplication of the disease producing agent in or on the body of the man or animal called infection. Infection may or may not cause disease. Infestation, uh, parasite attack resulting reproductive and multiplication of the pathogen in the intestine or on body surface occurs by the insect biting. Infectious agent, any agent which have ability to cause infectious diseases under the favorable conditions is called infectious agent. Then we move to incubation period. It is the time interval between the pathogen enters into the body of the host up to the appearance of the first sign and symptoms of the disease. Then incidence. Incidence, the number of the person suffering from the specific disease during a specific period of time. Isolation, complete separation of the person suffering from the communicable disease from the contact of the healthy person during the period of communicability. Contact, any person which remains in association with the infected person or the infective article resulting disease produced. Contamination, the presence of the infectious agent in or on the surface of the article like clothes, food, water, toys and floors, etc. Contagious diseases, any diseases which is transmitted by the contact, example scabies. Communicable diseases, any diseases which is transmitted from one person to another directly or individually through the infectious agent. Non-communicable disease, any disease which are not communicated or spread from one person to another, but it occurs within the patient himself. Example: hypertension, blindness, cancer, etc. Epidemic, sudden outbreak of infectious disease that is spread rapidly through the population, affecting large number of the people in the short period of time. Endemic, when the infectious disease is prevalent in the community. Formites, these are the articles other than the food and water as clothes, utensils that contaminated by the patient and are able to transmit the infectious agent to the healthy person. Host, a man or animal which allows the entry and development of an infectious agent in its body. Intermediate host is that in which the sexual life cycle of parasite takes place. Definite host is that in which the sexual life cycle of a parasite occurs. Notification, it is the process of reporting the notification disease in the initial stage to the higher health authorities in order to take control and preventive action if necessary. Notifiable diseases like cholera, malaria, measles, TB, typhoid, and whooping cough. Pandemic, when an epidemic spreads from one country to another country or even in the whole world, it is called pandemic, like AIDS, cholera, plague, and COVID-19. Sporadic, when a disease occurs at interval and in that time spread, it is called sporadic. In some cases, it may be beginning of the epidemic. Preventive and health, that is CDC and EPI. EPI stands for Extended Program for Immunization and CDC stands for Centers of Disease Control. These are the federal level self-financing agencies that invite the other agencies to work together for the eradication and control of the diseases for the benefit of community. Background of EPI, that is Expanded Program for Immunization. The EPI initiated in Pakistan as a pilot project in 1976, which launched at the federal level and the nationwide in 1981. Recently, this program is working on seven preventive diseases like polio, neonatal tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, and measles, TB, hepatitis B immunization. It is estimated that without immunization, 1 lakh deaths occur due to the measles, 70,000 due to the neonatal tetanus, and 20,000 paralytical cases of the polio occurs in Pakistan each year. Vaccination schedule. The immunization schedule targeted that 1 dose of BCG, that is Bacillus calmette-guerin, 3 doses of OPV, oral polio vaccine, and DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus vaccines per year. That is 1 dose of Bacillus and BCG, and 3 doses of for polio, and 1 dose of diphtheria. The ODV dose is given at the birth up to 6 months of ages. EPI in 1994 targeted the eradication of the poliomyelitis up to end of the 2005. A supplementary dose of vitamin A is given to all the children of age 6 to 5 months and 5 years will OPV during the second round on NID, that is National Immunization Days. Management of EPI. Recently, there are 2,649 fixed centers of API on the 4,564 outreaching teams available. This program is based on 2 EPI vaccinator located in each UC, and their performance is monitored by the supervisors. Nowadays, lady health workers are supporting through EPI to launch this program. Nowadays, some NGOs also work for the eradication of the disease. They purchase goods like syringes. The API also works to control the communicable and non-communicable diseases and chronic diseases. The clinical laboratories are responsible for early diagnosis purpose. CDC. It is abbreviation of the Centers for the Control, Center for Disease Control. The CDC Foundation is an independent non-profit enterprise that forces the effective partnership between the CDC and other to fight threats to the health and safety. Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention is the federal agency that helps to protect and improve the health of the public. Since 1995, it has made direct impact on the health of the public and make the world healthier and safer place. It also works to control and prevent the chronic killers like heart disease and cancer. It also helps safeguard us from the environment hazards and the vaccine preventable diseases to become the well-being of the population. The CDC assesses the state and the local health authorities and other health related organizations in preventing and controlling the diseases, improving the performance of the clinical and the public health laboratories, and improving the occupational safety and the health. It maintains the surveillance of the diseases and undertakes to prevent the importation of the diseases. CDC provides the assistance in control and prevention of the diseases and survey the immunization status of the population. It develops new methods for the testing and preventing the communicable and the vector-borne diseases and conduct a program for improving the performance of the clinical laboratories. Now, the next topic we have is family planning. Family planning and demography. Demography is the scientific study of the human population, mostly concerned with the increase of the population size and the distribution of the population. The process of the complete counting of all the individuals in a country on a fixed date called census. Fertility, it is the actual bearing of a child. A woman fertile age ranges between the 15 to 45 years, means the reproduction period is of 30 years. During this period, a woman may give birth maximum 15 children. Thus, the TFR, total fertility rate, gives an indication of the total total number of children born by a woman during her reproductive age. The difference in TFR or the fertility is occur due to the various factors as below. Factors affecting the fertility: age at the marriage. It is the age at which the female marries and enters into the reproductive life. Initially, it was custom that overage at the marriage was 13 years women, but nowadays it is observed that it is not 13 years, but it is between 16 and 18 years. If it affects the on the fertility, that if a female marrying before the 18 years can give birth to maximum children than the who married at the age of 20 years. Pakistan legal age of marriage is 18 now. Okay. Duration of the marriage life. If we do demographic study, we will know why population is increasing. Okay. Spacing of the children. The fertility can be decreased by the proper spacing the children, and the greater the gap between the children birth rate is lower. The fertility rate is also lower. Education, fertility or the low education family, because they are aware about the family welfare and the importance of the small family. Economic status, the fertility rate is lower in the higher economical status family. Caste and the religion, fertility rate higher in Muslims than the Hindus, and among the Hindus, higher caste has a low fertility rates than the lower caste Hindus. Nutrition, poorly fed societies exhibit a high fertility rate, whereas the well-fed society shows the lower fertility rate. Family planning. According to the WHO, family planning is the way of thinking on the basis of the knowledge and the responsive decisions by the individual couple to promote the health and the welfare of the family and the social development. It is the basic human right. The family planning and the birth control are not same meaning, but it is important component of the family planning being population. Pharmacist, being a member of the health team aware the dangerous effect of the increased population and also realize the need to control of the population and the importance of the family planning. Thus, the population control is responsibility of the community, which while the family planning is the responsibility of the individual couple. Family planning objective. Its objective are to know the increase in the population per year and their control, to observe the birth rate and the death rate ratio, to know the ratio of the male and the female, to know the ratio of the unmarried and the married couple, literate and illiterate ratio of the society, distribution of the public in the rural and the urban areas, to know the lifestyle, to improve the health of the society, improving the family health. Family planning is not only family control but also improving the society health. Economic consequences of the increased population. Economic problem: due to the increased population, unemployment increases, resulting in economic decreases. Health problem: due to the increased population, proper treatment will not be done and the proper attention will not be done, resulting in the spread of the diseases, increase among the society. Food problem: due to the increase in the population, well nutrition will not be received by the family members and the deficiency of the food may cause the diseases. Social problems: due to the increase in the population, there is increased population in the society by using the different vehicles, resulting in the social problem issues. Ecological problems, like as due to the increase in the population, the mainstream for housing will be difficult and resulting in the Bangalore become a flat and resulting ecological problem will be created. That is, artificial life will be created. After the family planning, we have a next topic, that is patient assessment. How to do patient assessment? It is also one of the role of the community pharmacist. The patient assessment is done on the availability of the relevant information from the hospital or the patient himself or herself. Resources to access the patient. There are three resources: prescription, patient source, and the medical case notes. So the first is the pharmacist accesses the patient to identify the patient with the potential medicines related problems. Then to know the medication risk factors. In this information on the patient and the medication, the risk factors are recorded in the form of the patient medication profile. Number 3, patient assessments are done to provide the good medical and the pharmaceutical facilities to the patient. Sources of information: prescription. It is the professional judgment to assess the patients on the basis of the prescription. For example, pharmacists get information by the review the past and the current usage of the medicines that will know the drug interaction. Patient himself and the pharmacist in this getting the knowledge of directly from the patient by counseling. As in the counseling, patient receives reveal or is encouraged to discuss their sign and symptoms, disease, and their therapy. And then we have the pharmacist will easily access the patient by taking interview from the patient. The above two parameters are helpful for the patient, both indoor and outdoor patients. Medicinal case notes. There are the case notes or the case history of the patient when he or she is admitted in the hospital. The hospital pharmacist accesses the patient on the basis of the hospital medical record, as the pharmacist takes the case history directly from the patient. And then there is a fourth way, that is the patient medication record, that is PMR. Past current medication record. It is the record of the patient medication when he or she discharged from the hospital and readmitted in another hospital. Okay. Like medication history and allergic reactions. And the PMR is helpful when in case of a young children or forgotten or the confused patient. This is also called discharge slip. The medication history are documented in the form of the PMRs. In patient assessment, the monitoring is done by the pharmacist that whether treatment is going on right way or not, to check if the assessment is working or it is not working. If necessary, pharmacists contact the prescriber to avoid the possibility of the drug interaction. Prescription review, that is a doctors do not know the generic name mostly. Synergistic management. Even Divago is not doing the community pharmacy role or counseling. After this, we have another topic, that is drug abuse or misuse. Drug abuse. Uses of a drug without the prescription for non-medicational purposes or self-medication, in which individuals take the drug without the need of or unwanted need. And drug misuse is, it is defined as the use of the drugs in that condition for which they are unsuitable or they are given in the improper dosage form. Like giving the cough medication for the joint medicine and taking the medication for the relaxing, this is like drug misuse basically. And drug abuse is something, if you are taking some drugs for recreational purposes or like without prescription, that is what it's called, drug abuse. And the drug, it is like repeatedly consuming on the methamphetamine drug. It is characteristics include like increase of the disease to take a desire to take the drug and continue it for a well-being. Tendency of increase the dose, psychosis and medical dependence. Patients become dependency to the society as well as to the family. Drug dependence, like cancer, anxiety, medicine, for long-term dependence. Why people use psychoactive drugs? Avoidance of the pain or the pleasure or withdrawal symptoms. Basic thing. Because either they want to experience the benefit or enjoy the taste of the drug, or they are aware about the withdrawal effect of the drug. Thus, the perceived benefit may include the pleasure feeling relaxation, increased social attention, change in the positions, person psycho conditions, and the peer pressure. Physical change, example, some bodybuilder use the antibiotic steroids to make the body and to avoid the withdrawal effects. Example, some of some specific drug. Risk factors, the risk factors are uh, very vary of each drug. They depend on the incidence and the nature of the drug, potent and the less potent and incidence. Examples including the presence of the impurities, dose, frequency of the use, route of administration, legal status, and the drug and personality of the drug users, and the interactions between the drug use and the lifestyle. Withdrawal effects. What are the withdrawal effects? Like the effects appear after the sudden stoppage of the specific drug on which he or she is dependent. There are two types of like the physiological or the physical effects. Like there are like oil water based and water oil based. Water oil based injection, if in IV instead of IM, can block the capillaries and can cause the death. Hence the water oil based injection always given by IM. Water oil always given by IM. Okay, psychological effects, longer terms effects, like 1 year or more than 1 year. Example, seizures may occur as an alcohol withdrawal symptom, and the stomach cramps and influenza type of the symptoms appeared in the opioid withdrawal. The physical withdrawal effects can be severe and the shorter duration. Physical withdrawal of the heroin may last up to 7 days. Psychological withdrawal, they are not easily observable. Expensive example, intense emotional effects as the unmasking of the grief and the and altered mood and depression. These are the long duration and relapse to the bad use of the drug. Harmful effects of the psychoactive drug. The harmful effects of the drug dependence effects on the individual as well as on the society are categorized below. Health problems, they are be related to the wrong method of the administration. Example, by sharing the injectable injection used by the infection like HIV and hepatitis, because B and C can occur. The pharmacist preventing these harms in benefit of the individual as well as the society. Social problems. Social problems are like the social problems include the poverty that damage the family's relationship. Example, social deprivation, unavailability to survive, the employment, sustained employment, and suspending of the income sources, and spending it on the drugs. So there are like health problems, social problems, drug-related care, crimes, and the legislations. Then we have a drug-related crimes. In this, the individual not only punished during the criminal activity against the drug use and misuse of the drug, and but also due to his crime impact on the society, that the treatment of the benefit are not only improving the individual health but also improving the social health and making the community safer. Legislation, it includes the studies and the regulation in the misuse of the drug. Here the pharmacist mostly concerned with the misuse of the drug act, because he is the person which legally supply the drugs for liable medication use. According to the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, drugs are classified into the three classes as Class A, B, C. The purpose of the classification of the legislation is to put the penalties when they are illegally undertaken. Various activities, example, possession of the drug, supply, import and export of the drug. 1971 classification ABC. In this, according to the road traffic Act, the drivers are required to notify their driving license in the case when they are not safely driving due to the misuse of the drug. According to the misuse of drugs, so according to the law, they also pay the penalty. Management of drug dependence. Here we focus especially on the drug dependence. Reason of this is that here the pharmacist is the only person which primarily involved in the treatment of the drug dependence. Drug dependence must be kept in holding, as not everyone try to use the drug because the extent of the harm of the drug dependence are of the so large that they do not affect the individual but also their families and their society. Thus, it is necessary that preventing, the controlling, the managing from the adverse consequences of drug use. It includes the primary prevention, stop use at the early stage. Primary prevention means the preventing the people from the use of the drug who are early in the stage, means they are starting to use over the target put on the vulnerable groups such as the school children, younger people who have left the education, and this includes warning them about the harms of the drug dependence and this promoting their health. It also includes the legislation in which they are informed that about the illegal nature of the drug. Secondary prevention is like discouraging. In this, our aim is to discourage the people who are already taking the drug, as most of the people using the drugs either were to practice or enjoy that taste of the drug to avoid withdrawal effect of the drug, so that we are giving the substitute therapy, and by decreasing the dose we prevent the further use of the drug. And then the third step is like through the drug education, like educating the people. In this case, we are educating and awareing the society by providing the leaflets, booklets, videos, and putting the posters on the walls. The people who are dependent on the drug may also get benefit from the drug education if are not fully informed through the drug education. Arranging the different seminars, walks, aware the people about the harm of the drug dependence. Drug education may be provided by the range of the people like the teachers and workers, medical students, medical nursing staff, and the police officers as well. So then there will be a fourth step, that's the social support. Social support is like kind of counseling. It means the social support provided by the psychologically motivation of the treating the patient psychologically. It includes the providing the practical advice and assistance, means seeking the housing, provision, and the hostel accommodation. There are many psychological tools used by the psychologist in counseling in the treatment and support of the drug use. Detoxification, it means keeping the individual away from the drug use on which he is dependent, thus providing the substitute therapy of that drug and stopping it by gradually reducing the dose, followed by the treatment of withdrawal symptoms. Example, giving substitute therapy of opium dependent as a methadone, and by gradually decreasing the dose of it. Methadone is given for opiate dependent patients basically. Rehabilitation is the sixth point. It refers to providing the detoxification process followed by the social support, intensive psychotherapy to facilitate the sustained change. Rehabilitation is usually provided in the therapeutic community where the treatment is going on for several months. How to reduce the harmful effects? It describes the range of the interventions used to reduce the adverse consequences of drug dependence, experienced by both the individual and drug user and society. For example, provision and the steroids, injection equipment, and providing the information to the drug injectors to prevent the sharing of the injectable equipment. It is also includes the providing of the suitable therapy, either adequate maintenance tools or as a detoxification agent. Okay, then we have role of community pharmacists and hospital pharmacists in drug dependency. Community pharmacist in the prevention of the drug dependence. A community pharmacist is the most important person to take care of the drug use by providing the following practices: extended opening hour. The most community pharmacies are open over the part-time or weekend or at the evening, the time when the special drug services are closed. Expert advice: the community pharmacists give the access to the trained healthcare practitioners, giving the free advice, resulting in the people and their family receiving the substitute therapy, drug dependence on the community pharmacy. Discretion: community pharmacies provide the confidential services, so their users tend to see the pharmacies as a separate from other healthcare system network of the services. Due to the widespread of the services, the community pharmacists have shared the workload and develop a network of the good practice which joined with the other trained people. Pharmacists to develop the professional relationship. Job satisfaction. The community pharmacist is the only person, healthcare professional, to which the drug users are mostly in contact, so the pharmacists are in the position to give the advice with the risk reduction information about the drug dependence. The trust of the pharmacist encourages the drug users to access the drug services, which results in it improving their health by receiving the substitute therapy and bringing the job satisfaction. And the last and the most important services of the community pharmacist is to prevent or reduce the harms of the needle for the syringe exchange practice. Now the hospital pharmacist, how can he play the role in the drug dependence? The hospitals are the places which are giving the guidelines for the admission and the discharge of the drug dependent patients. So it is also especially important in those cases when the drug dependent are admitted in the general medical or the surgical ward. The team of the ward may not be so much aware about the misuse of the drug. The hospital pharmacists contribute to giving such guidelines like admission during the admitting of the people, how to ensure the safe continuation use of the substitute drug when the someone comes from the community for the secondary care. The attention should be paid on the use of the substitute drug. Example, methadone is actually controlled drug, but it is kept in the pharmacy for the substitute for the opium drug use. That is the pharmacy giving the procedure to use or supply of the methadone. Discharge: during the discharge, how to ensure the safe continuation of the substitute drug on the discharge without doubling up the prescribing. For this, the contact with the GP, general practitioner, and the community pharmacist, at which important to ensure any change to the treatment in the hospital. And then the hospital pharmacists play a key role for the advising of the substitute drug to the drug users. Many drug interactions can occur if methadone is co-administered with the enzyme inhibiting or enzyme inducing drug. In that case, hospital pharmacists change in the dose if necessary. Patient pharmacist communication. This is the next topic, and it is very important topic. And this is again, this is the last topic. That's a good news. Okay. The last topic, the patient pharmacist communication. Introduction: as everything in the life depends on the communication, so the pharmacist spends his large portion of the working day in the communicating with the other people, like the patients, doctors, and the other healthcare professionals, staff. Even general practitioners are seeking advice from the community pharmacist. Due to this reason, the role of the pharmacist in a hospital is going to increase on talking to the patient and the medical staff. Poor communication causes many problems. For example, if there is an incomplete communication with the healthcare professionals, there may be incorrect drug dosage or the incomplete advice on the use of the medication, resulting in the harm to the patients may occur. Thus, the pharmacist need an effective communication skills. The good communication is based on the common sense, as no two people can be same because their professional influence on their communication, personalities influence on their communication abilities, assumptions and expectations. As it is said that you never get a second chance to make the first impression, because of the first impression is the last impression. When we meet someone for the first time we make assumptions about that person. Assumptions mean the claiming the greater than the real importance. Then we put the people into the categories, and assumptions lead to the expectations of their behavior, jobs, character. Initial judgment of the person is based purely on what we see, and here that includes appearance, dress, age, gender, race, and the physical disabilities. Thus, it is important to be aware of these assumptions in order to avoid the stereotyping people. For example, the impression of a person wearing a jacket may be different from the same person wearing a suit. People make assumption about us based on their initial impressions. Pharmacists wearing a white coat in a clean clinical environment may inspire more confidentiality than the pharmacist who is wearing a bad clothing and working in a cluttered, untidy environment. If it is Notice that the age and the gender affect our communication because of the assumptions and expectation. Age, gender plays a role in the assumption. Demeanor is how you express makes judgment. It is a way of expressing their feelings which leads to the make the certain judgment. For example, a person who talks aggressively to someone makes the person feel defensive because the assumption made that he has come to the complaint. However, if a person came hesitantly may lead to the assumption the person needs help and advice. Both will affect our behavior and attitude. Tone of the speech and accent and the common expression. All these have an impact on the communication as our response to the person who talking with a shouting and complaining tone will differ from our response to the someone who meets us in a friendly and welcome manner. Similarly, agent of the BBC English accent pronunciation very differently from that of the strong local accent. No one can experience same situation in the same way while the people appear to be doing the similar thing as they have a different feeling. We can only guess that what people are thinking or feeling from their look behavior called known as a common expression. For example, if anyone comes on a size feel uh, then his perspiration perspiration starts with feel that his preparation is not well, but that may not be the case. Thus, it is useful for us to consider that how we are aware in our own behavior and appearance. Nonverbal communication comprises around 90% of our communication. There are the words. These are the words which are not spoken. It is made up of the several components, including the tone of the voice, speech, and the volume of the speech. Generally, in any communication, the actual words only about 10% message, and this is called the verbal communication, while the 90% message transmitted by non-verbal communication, which is consists of the how it is said, about 40%, and body language is about 50%. Vocal communication, sometimes it is called the para language. It is concerned with the vocal characteristics as the quality and the fluency of the voice. The quality of the voice refers to the tone, pitch, volume, speed of the voice. Tone convey the more meaning than the actual words. As thank you for asking, the question said in a harsh voice indicates that it is agree or response. If some words said in a polite tone, it indicates sincerity or being responsive. The volume must be adjusted and can emphasize on the keywords. Speed of the speaking should be in such a way that the listener easily understands your message. Varying in the speed and the pitch of the voice makes the words more interesting and holds the listener to the attention. We heard the people who are using the interpreting word like the isn't it, you see, okay, etc. It makes conveying the message difficult and can be annoying. This indicates nervousness or the lack of the confidence. Effective use of the vocal communication requires we become proficient in speaking with confidential tone of the voice in an appropriate speech and the volume without using of the interrupting words. Body language, 50% of the nonverbal communication. Our impression on the another person is mostly created at the first glance. In many situations, the opportunity does not present itself to the known about someone better, but the first impression is the one which remains almost for whole life. The first impression is a favorable one. This will not distract, reduce the value from the communication. Thus, the poor image created may cause the problem in the future meeting or even prevent the future meeting. The pharmacists who create a friendly impression become more likely for the customer, patient, and the doctor that what they say. If customers perceive pharmacists as unfriendly and unhelpful, then they go elsewhere for the advice or the information about drugs. It includes following parameters, gestures, parameters of the body language. The hands gestures are useful when there is emphasis on the point or to help in describing the something. It greatly enhances the communication and improve the listener's understanding. Thus, it is important that not to be overuse of them because they can distract from the spoken words and annoying the listener. It is amazing that how much information people pick up by observing their gestures. Facial expressions, after the Spoken word facial expression is the most important part of the communication. The facial expression of the pharmacist at the starting of the conversation should be well determined to the patient. Facial expressions say a lot about the mood and emotions. The facial expression should be encouraging and welcoming. It is important for the pharmacist to be able to read the meaning of the facial expression. In this way, important points about the patient's reveal can be judged. Eye contact. Generally, it is said that avoiding the eye contact is a common way of avoiding the communication. Maintenance of the eye contact during the conversation is vital to ensure the continuation of the process because it indicates the interest of in the subject. Generally, it is the way of conveying their message through the eye. Physical contact. This is an important aspect of the communication process and can be used to enhance the verbal communication. For example, a symptomatic touch of the pharmacist or the doctor encourage the patient and say more than the spoken words. However, the physical contact is governed by the social rules, means there should be taking care of the gender and the age of the patient. Body posture, as we can control the words which we said, but we can't controlling our body language. Thus, although we can give the positive verbal message, but our body posture gives the negative message, and the listeners may pick up this one, but the verbal message will be lost. There are several body posture having the significant meaning. Close position. If a person is standing in with his folded arms, indicate the negative posture, and it is not encouraging to the initiating the communication. Feet position. In this position, the person feeds this direction where he wants to go, putting the image on the listeners that he is not giving full attention. Positive body posture. It shows that leaning towards the person who is talking or sitting in a relaxed fashion in front of the partner shows the good communication. As a pharmacist trying to build up a complete picture of a patient problem, good communication provides the useful information that can be used for the benefit of the patient. Types of the behavior in the communication. Assertive behavior, that it is defined as the standing up for the personal rights and expressing thoughts. It is the behavior of those people. Those people are positive in their thinking and are communicating in a good way. They believe in the honest and the appropriate way. They don't violate another right. Being assertive in listening to the other and understanding their feelings. And assertive communication is a positive way of behavior. It is useful when dealing with the battle or the leadership. People who behave assertively usually achieve what they want to do. They does not think that other person does not achieve what they want to do. Aggressive behavior, the aggressive person violates the other rights and seeks to achieve the goal at the expense of the other. It is frightening and threatening behavior. The aggressive person are of the negative thinking. The aggressive person of the negative thinking and put the positive feeling in the negative feeling in the receiver. Thus, communication will be difficult. Passive aggressive people, these behavior, these type of the people, person giving the mixed message that he is agree with you on that point, but show more anger by facial expression. Summation behavior, they show those people who have a little confidence in themselves and the poor self-esteem. Even they allow the others to violate their personal rights. Submissive people rarely achieve what they want. Techniques in the assertive communication. Use of you and I statement. Using of I instead of you in the statement places an assertive responsibility. Use of I statement minimize the negative reactions such as anger. For example, compare following two statements which are saying same thing. You appear to have been arriving very late for the work recently. I have noticed that you have been arriving very late for the work today. First gives the impression of the accused, while the second one is a observation. Repeating the message. If the request for the information by receiver is done by assertive way, then message must be repeated. But if the request for repeating is done in an aggressive manner, then the message can't be repeated. Clear communication. For the communication, we use both verbal and the non-verbal language. The both are important. It is essential to check whether we send the mixed or the confused message, and the affirmation reply may be given verbally by the patient, but non-verbal signs such as creased forehead may indicate that there is some confusion which needs to be clarified. Extracting the truth, the strong emotions show the way of the clear communication. The communication who will be shown angry or upset may talk loudly and trying to convey the message with the issue. Thus, it is important that the receiver accept this in an assertive manner. Self-talk in certain situations of the battle, we work ourselves in an angry or emotion state, which leads to the unclear and unsuccessful communication. If we use self talk to self and clarify the issue of the situation, we can consider the signs. In this way, we can ready to take the clear and unconfused communication that leads to the more successful outcome. Self-talk doesn't mean that giving a chance to other, but it is the way of controlling their natural emotions. There are number of the steps to increase the assertiveness. Choose the right situation. Choose the situation where you have a better chance to show your assertiveness. Behave assertively during the situation to overcome unexpected hassle. For example, asking these questions themselves. Have I like this right? I like to think about it. etc. Review situation afterwards. Analyze what happened. To be honest and don't play down your success. And then we have questioning kills. It is said the best question is one the better social skill. With the better social and pharmacists, the questioning are asked to encourage the listener to provide the information. For example, pharmacists are able to respond the patient and try to resolve the problem about the prescribing drug and provide the advice about the prescribed advice to on the OTC drug. There are two types of the questioning: open-ended and the close-ended. Close-ended questioning, it is type of the direct questioning in which the requires them to give the single word reply such as yes or no. The such questioning does not include the feelings of the component but provide specific information. Example: are you taking any medicine at present? Have you taken any medicine before? Did you understand how to take it? Open-ended questioning, in this type of people are allowed to give the response in their own way. They don't need to limit, allow person to provide the detail or any information. It encourages to help detail allow the person to provide the detailed information. It encourages to help the people to expand what they have started to say. Example: describe your symptoms to me. How do you relate the symptoms to the headache? Relieve the symptoms of the headache. Pharmacists also encourage the patient to explain more detail about their symptoms or conditions by using the open-ended questions. Friends, that's all for the community pharmacy. If you okay, there is one more topic: barriers to the communication. This is the last heading, I guess. Okay. In the pharmacy, there are the number of the factors which are believe it detract the quality of the communication. Mostly, there are the four common barrier: environment, patient factor, pharmacist, and time. Environment, the community and the hospital. Pharmacist and the hospital. What are the areas where the pharmacists use their communication? The awareness of the limitation of the environment play the part in resolving the problem. For example of the problem are below: busy pharmacy. This creates a wrong impression as appear to be given a little time to discuss the personal matters with the patient. In this, pharmacist is supervising lot of the different activities at the same time, so he can't give the full attention on the individual matter. Thus it is important for the pharmacists that it organize their work in such a way that it minimizes this wrong impression. Lack of the privacy in some community and the hospital pharmacies, there are the counseling rooms where patient tell their secret problems to the pharmacist, but many have not this type of the facility. So it is important for the pharmacist to provide the facilities for the additional skills. Noise a certain working area is too much that it is obvious barrier in the communication. It will cause difficulty in comprehending the patient, so the pharmacist should provide the quiet environment where the patient can easily understand and listen. Physical barriers at the pharmacy counters and the outpatient dispensing hatches are the physical barrier. They may dictate and distract and distance between the pharmacist and the patient and creates a problem and effective communication. So pharmacist should solve the problem. Patient the main barrier in the good communication is the patient's expectations. Today's world, people are busy in their life and they are seeing good pharmacy where there is the prescriptions dispensed quickly. They are not expecting that the pharmacist spend the time to check the prescription clearly. So the pharmacist should realize the this importance of the pharmacist. That is end of this, friends. Hope you have a nice day today. Goodbye.